It's a Wild West show for dirt bikes on a Texas-sized stage. 37 miles of Mother Nature's gnarliest terrain, a drama playing in 2 acts. No script, no rehearsal, no practice. A lap under the sun, another by moonlight, backwards. The cast is huge, 127 players. The leading man, last year's winner, David Knight, maybe the toughest guy in off-road racing. But his challengers have waited all year to take him on for the spotlight. Lights, camera, action. It's the Red Bull Last Man Standing. The sun shines bright on the Texas-Oklahoma border and the second running of the Red Bull Last Man Standing two-wheel endurance extravaganza. But this all-star off-road ensemble find anything but a warm greeting. 2 days out, the weather has cranked up the degree of difficulty. The thing about all that snow and ice is that it melts. Thus, last year's dust is this year's mud. Lots of mud. And where the sun doesn't shine, ah, yes, there, the challenge is ice. Last year, only 14 riders finished the inaugural. This year, organizers wonder if there will be any. The race works this way. The goal is to complete 2 laps in dirt bike hell, the notorious 37-mile Red River Motorcycle Park circuit, including a little bit of everything in terms of terrain. All difficult. In fact, if it's not tough enough, sadistic organizers lend a helping hand. But the weather, rain, snow, and ice, has given the last word to Mother Nature. Finish lap 1 within an hour of the leader, you qualify for lap 2, in the dark, in the opposite direction. Creating a sufficiently brutal challenge has taken months.
The course is difficult. You know, in comparison to last year, a 40-mile loop took 2 hours. This year, a 33-mile loop takes 4.5 hours. So the difficulty is 10 times. You know, this is a course that's demanding on a motorcycle and demanding on a rider.
To meet the demands, an invitation-only field from around the world up against the homers who know the local conditions. 126 men and 1 woman, from teenagers to over 50. And all of them pay homage to 27-year-old David Knight. The tougher things get, the better Knight likes it.
For me, for an extreme race, it should be like maximum 6 finishes. That's it, you know, and you've got to sweat to get there, and when you get to the end, then you know what you've done, and you appreciate it, you know, that you've got to the end of the race and you know how difficult it was.
Knight's biggest challengers, maybe those who followed him across the Atlantic.
Yeah, I've put David under a bit of pressure before, and he knows it's there. You know, he's no stranger to it, and I mean, he's still the best in the world, and it's his full-time job. You know, I'm still working and running my business and doing these events, but I'll keep him on his toes. I'll keep him honest.
Predictably, the hardware choices cover the waterfront. 2-stroke, 4-stroke, big bore, lightweight. All of them, of course, rear-wheel drive. So, will this be the great equalizer when it's time to run the deep mud? The Cristini, all-wheel drive. More on that later. Competitors may walk the start area, but they're not allowed to see the course. Last year, when the going got tough, the tough got help. Officials and spectators to the rescue.
There's guaranteed no spectator help and no course worker help. The only thing that a course worker can do is move you out of a line.
As a result, partnerships have quickly formed.
Big strategy with a lot of people is talking about getting a kind of team together with 2 people or working together to get over most of the obstacles.
But last year's winner is having none of that.
I'd rather sit at the bottom of a gully on my own crying and, you know, than getting help of somebody to get up it. So I just want to go and do my own thing and start the race, finish the race, and do it on my own.
When we come back, one of the wildest starts in all of racing. The Red Bull Last Man Standing. Welcome back. Last year, 88 riders started this event, and that start was one of the craziest things we've ever seen. This year, The field is up to 127 bikes. You don't need me to tell you how wild that's going to be. Just sit back, crank up the volume, and have a look. The first obstacle, man-made. It's called Rodeo Cross, and the log jam it creates will be the first of many during the day. David Knight made it through with number 62 Guy Cooper on his heels. Behind them, a hornet's nest, all buzz and pent-up anger. A bad start can make this the longest day of your life. Those lucky and fast enough to get away clean have a big advantage. The course is just as tough for them, but they avoid the misery of waiting in line. This is the infamous wall. How do you climb that? Well, Knight demonstrates the answer. Cooper close behind. That wasn't so hard now, was it? But one slip by one rider, that means trouble for everybody else. Lending a helping hand can be perilous, and serious racers always make that decision with strategic self-interest. If I help him, will it ultimately help me?
I've been very fortunate to travel around and do a lot of racing, and we got some tough races back home in South Africa, and this is definitely the toughest race I've ever done. The organizers have just done a fantastic job just to find obstacles that are doable but difficult. And the hard part about it is we have an obstacle, after an obstacle, after an obstacle. There's no time for rest.
So how come the guy out front never seems to need any rest? Does it have anything to do with his equipment?
The bike I'm riding is a KTM 300XC model. Really, I choose this bike for this type of race. Normally, I ride a 525 4-stroke for World Championship and basically every race. You know, the 300 is a good all-around bike. It's, you know, it's got good torquey power. It's light. It doesn't get too hot like the 4-stroke if you're stuck somewhere for 5 or 10 minutes. You know, it's just the 4-stroke's a good bike. But for this type of race, I think the 2-stroke, you know, unpredictable weather conditions and things, the 2-stroke's a real good all-around bike, and that's a bike hopefully that can win.
Behind Knighter, a change of positions. Cooper has lost the trail. Last year's runner-up, Nathan Caney, again taking that second spot, this time determined not to let Knight beat him again.
He's really aggressive, and I think he's like, you know, he's not patient. He's not content to go slow and think the race through and take it slow and wait for the end to come. He sucks down a Red Bull and he goes out and just goes full speed right off the bat. And, you know, I think that also makes him vulnerable. So he's not willing to let the race come to him, and that's something that I'm quite good at.
But Caney also has trouble behind. Cooper is back on course and hauling, making up for his mistake.